Okay, the purpose of this video is to show you how to do Unit 2, Activity 4, and work with the transaction analysis sheet. This assignment isn't necessarily that difficult. It's just a little bit unfamiliar with the Excel sheet. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of show you how to fill the sheet out properly so that it works properly for you. And then also just walk you through maybe the first two transactions just to give you an idea of what you're supposed to do. All right, so the first thing that we'll do is we'll take a look at the assignment, which I have pulled up over here on this window. I've just got it pulled to the side so I can also see the Excel spreadsheet. The first thing that you'll notice is the transaction analysis sheet link here. That's obviously important. When you click on that, it'll download that Excel spreadsheet and it will look like this here when you open it up. Just a note on this transaction analysis sheet. This isn't really like a official accounting instrument or form or sheet. You won't, for example, you won't see this again in our class. This is kind of like a practice thing that helps people who are new to accounting get comfortable with the idea of adding and subtracting amounts to certain accounts, and the idea that in accounting, transactions affect accounts, and they don't just affect one account in a business, they affect either two or sometimes three or four accounts, but they'll never affect just one account. So this activity with the transaction analysis sheet kind of gets you familiar with that and gets you comfortable with that. So as I say, this isn't something that we'll do several times. This is something that you'll do this one time, and then you'll be acquainted with a few more new concepts, and you'll be moving on to things that are actually used in accounting by accountants and in business. So anyway, just a little explanation of this. So once you have this downloaded and you're looking at it, the thing to then look at is the information that's provided in the assignment. The only thing that's, I guess, important up here is the name of the business, which is Giant Softball Company. That we're going to put at the top of the transaction analysis sheet. So I'm just going to copy and paste that over. You'll see that they've got generic name of business there. So we just want to change that to Giant Softball Company. Looks like I edited the wrong. Let's see, there it is. Okay, so that goes there. And then I don't know if there's anything else that's that important in the beginning here. I don't think we have to put the date. I think that's basically it for now. The next most important thing that we have to do is look at this list of accounts that's in the second paragraph. And this is actually very important. This goes across the top of your transaction analysis sheet. And this is where you're going to label each of those columns with the zeros with one of these accounts. So I think they've already got cash in there for us. They do. And as you'll see, that's the first account listed on this one. And then they go to accounts receivable, computer, supplies, etc. So what we want to do is above each one of these columns with zeros in it, we want to label them with one of these accounts. And the only thing that we have to be careful is to put these accounts in the proper place. And you'll see that this whole side, this left-hand side, is all assets. So things that the business owns or that is part of the business. And then over on the right-hand side, you've got liabilities, and then you've got owner's equity, which is symbolized by the O/E, and capital. So I think owner's equity and capital, those are the only accounts within that section. So really, we just have to be figuring out between assets and liabilities. So accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is money that people owe us. So I'm actually just going to put that in as A/R. Not a question mark R, but A/R. The next one is computer, which is an asset. We own the computer. We use it to do our work. So that will be an asset. something that we use and we own. Supplies, again, stuff that we own that helps us do our job. Equipment, another asset, stuff that we own that helps us work. And truck. So we own a truck that we use to do our business. So that's also an asset, something that we own that has value. Let's see. Okay, and the liability accounts. Okay, in telling you all of that, I didn't realize that they are labeled. So we don't even have to be that careful about how we put these in. So liability accounts are our accounts payable. I'm just going to do A/P here, just for the sake of ease. Accounts payable is money that we owe other businesses. So, we might have accounts set up with them. We pay them each month for the stuff that we buy from them. For example, if we're we have an office and maybe we need paper, maybe there's like a paper supply company that we have a contract with. And maybe we don't pay them immediately when we get their stuff. Maybe we pay them monthly or bi-monthly or every 6 months for the paper that they supply us. So we might have an accounts payable account with them. Okay, so that's in the liabilities, and then the owner's equity. So there's only one liability account, so that makes it easy. And then the owner's equity account, like I said, is on the capital side, and that's the only account there, so nothing to worry about. All right, so we've got all of our accounts set up across the top. So these are the accounts that we will be choosing from when we analyze these transactions. And remember, as I said at the beginning of the video, every transaction will affect at least 2 accounts, and in some cases 3, but those are the more rare cases, especially in this practice one. Just be aware, though, that it can affect more than 2, but it can affect less than 2. It's always got to be at least 2. All right, so our first transaction is right here. So E. Manning invests $6,000 into the Giants softball company. Giants softball is the company and E. Manning is the owner. And so he's putting, or she, I guess, is putting $6,000 into the company to get it started. And so we got to figure out where that $6,000 is going to be recorded on our transaction analysis sheet. So the first one is maybe the easiest one to figure out, which is, sorry, my spreadsheets went crazy there. 6,000 we're going to put into the cash account because he's putting it in as just regular old cash. So this is the only part that's a little tricky with this sheet, is figuring out what line to put this stuff on. So our first transaction, I'm going to put it in as T1. And it goes right between the beginning balance cell and the new balance cell. All right, so this is going to be our first transaction here in the middle. And like I said, that $6,000 is going to go in the cash cell. So I'm going to put in 6,000. And you'll see that it populates this list going all the way down. When we put something else in that one, say in transaction 2 or transaction 3 or transaction 4, whatever it is, and we put it in one of these blank cells, it should do the calculation for us and carry the new balance all the way down. So when we do transaction 2, we'll just make sure that that's the case. That's what's happening. I know I spoke to some of you in class and gave you kind of bad information about where to put your amounts, and thus the sheet didn't work properly for you. So that's the change that you need to make if I gave you that bad information. So you don't want to replace the zeros. You just want to put the amounts in the blank cells. Okay. Okay, so that 6,000 is going in cash, and then the other account that it's going to go into is, or that we're going to record it in, is our capital account. And so capital account is the value of the business so far, and it's the amount of money that could be taken out of the business by the owner, legally and without any repercussions to the business. So it's money that the owner has. What would you say, has a right to. All right, so $6,000 in the cash and $6,000 in the capital. So when we do that, it'll also carry that 6,000 down. Now, the one thing you want to keep an eye on while you're doing this are these two balances at the bottom here, the total assets and total liability and owner's equity, are these staying in balance? If they're the same number, then you're doing well. Your accounts are in balance and you're doing it properly. If they aren't in balance, then there's something wrong with it. Now, if you know exactly what's wrong with it, go ahead and change it. But if it's something that you can't figure out why it's wrong, just go ahead and put in all the transactions. And then at the end, I can and submit it. And then at the end, I can help you root out what the problem is. All right. But just so you know you're doing it right if these two numbers are in balance. Okay. So that's the first transaction done. I'm going to do the second transaction as well, and then I'll end the video and let you guys work on it on your own. But let me do number 2 just so you can see another example. So again, I'm going to, the next available blank cell in that first column A, I'm going to put T2 for transaction 2. And then I'm going to look at our second transaction and see what that one is. So the owner buys the business a new computer valued at $1,200 with the company's money. Okay. So the company is going to be losing $1,200 in cash. All right. The owner buys the new computer with the company's money. So that's coming out of our cash account. So we're going to be losing $1,200. So in that open cell there underneath the 6,000, I'm going to put minus or negative 1,200. And as I said, if I do this properly, when I click off of that cell, this column here should have the new calculation done. So there we go. It did it properly. It took 1,200 away from 6,000, which was the balance in the cash account when we started. And now it's down to $4,800. So that's perfect. And remember, we got one other account that this needs to affect in this business. So the second one that it's going to affect is the computer account, which is another asset account. And the reason it's going to affect that is we now have, excuse me, we now have $1,200 worth of computer supplies or computer in our business. So we're simply going to put 1,200 in the computer spot, excuse me, in that transaction row. Perfect time to have a coughing fit. Sorry, guys. Okay. So we put the $1,200 in there, and that carries gives us a new balance in the computer asset column of $1,200. And then if we look down here and we look at our total assets, we see that it's still in balance. So things are going well. All right. So that's the basic idea. 2 accounts are going to be affected by every transaction, maybe 3. Give it your best shot, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks, guys.